Hello. Back with another message today. Now, I'm wearing a Superman shirt, but I'm not here to save the day. I'm just here to spread the message. What I want to share with you guys today is to remember that there's always a way forward. Now, we'll start by reading Isaiah 43, um, Isaiah chapter 43, verse 2, and it goes, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you." When you start walking with God, or when you're on your journey walking with God, there's times where it seems that the obstacles that are in your way are either too much for you. Some obstacles seem like you can't handle them, or they're not meant to be for you, or these obstacles are maybe signs that you should give up or that you should do something else. But this verse reminds us that most obstacles that we have in life are there for a reason, right? God allows things to happen to us. These things are not against us, these things are not to burn us down, right? To tear us down, but these are things that are used to build our character, right? Now, depending on what your walk with God is, depending on what you've been called to do, the obstacles may vary. But you need to remember that God allows these obstacles to be in your way, but not to get in your way, but to serve as kind of checkpoints to see how well you've progressed, right? To see if you're able to handle the next obstacle. And if you're able to handle the next obstacle, then you've learned what you've had to learn up till that point. You've passed the checkpoint. Kind of like in a video game, when you get to the next checkpoint, right? You've just, I don't know, defeated one of the many bosses that you have in the game. You get to a checkpoint. Now you can save, right? You can save the game where it's at because you've made it there, not because you're not meant to be there, but because all the pain and all the trouble that you went through before was for a reason. And once you're at the checkpoint, you can now rest, recuperate, and get ready to handle more obstacles, right? Because it never gets easier. The higher up you go, the further you go, it doesn't get easier, but you shouldn't be discouraged by that. I think that the harder it gets, the more you should realize that you're getting closer and closer. I mean, personally, I try to find as much joy in these difficulties as possible. It might sound crazy, but as I said, the harder it gets, the more I know that I'm doing what I'm meant to do. And the more I realize that I've sharpened myself enough for God to look at me and tell himself that my son or my daughter is able to handle this. So this should definitely not be seen as a bad thing. Take well to it. Learn to, I wouldn't say enjoy suffering, but change your perspective of hard times. Change the way you perceive difficulty and embrace difficulty. Now, Romans 8, verse 12 says, "For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." Again, the devil does a very good job at making it seem that what we're going through is where things should end, and that's where, we should probably do something else or just go back to our old ways. But we should always, remember that these little obstacles that we have in front of us are not as big as they think they are. I think, more generally speaking, when you look back at high school or even university, when you're in it, it always seems like it's impossible, right? I remember back in grade 12 telling myself that, this clearly looks, it's not possible, it's not doable, I can't do this. But now that you've done it, you look back and realize that it wasn't really that complicated. I think the same goes for uni, for example. I'm in my last year, right? Seems a bit complicated, seems a bit rough, but I know that when I'll be done, I'll look back at it the same way, as I look back at my days in high school. And I think that we should look at obstacles the same way, but rather than waiting for the end to look at it that way, you should approach your obstacles with that mindset, with the mindset of it's not that big, it's not that serious. Now, you shouldn't underestimate the obstacles, but you should approach them and attack them with a positive mindset. It's the same thing as a hurdler, a 60-meter hurdler, 100-meter hurdler, 400-meter hurdler. They don't attack these hurdles as obstacles that are against them. They attack these hurdles as one hurdle closer to the finish line, one hurdle closer to a gold medal, one hurdle closer to success. And that's how we should look at these obstacles, getting us closer to success, getting us closer to being with God, and just getting us closer to living a better life. Now, we can also look at Jeremiah 29. I always make the same mistake. Chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Now, again, this is just to emphasize the fact that any plan and anything that's happening to you happens for a reason. I don't think God will let things happen just for the sake of having them happen. Now, I do understand that the free will that we have can make certain situations happen a certain way. But at the end of the day, you need to trust that God will always correct your ways. And even if we at times take paths that we're not really meant to take, He will correct us and make sure that we at least get the opportunity to learn what we have to learn. Now, it's always up to you to, change your perspective of the obstacle in front of you and actually get out what you need to get out. Now, that's really up to you. But like I said, He will always give you the opportunity to learn what you need to learn. And by changing your perspective and by changing how you look at things, you'll realize that there's always a way forward, no matter how hard or no matter how challenging the situation looks. So, yeah, that's the message of the day. See you next time.